Good morning. Oh no, it's night. Sorry. Good morning. I had a nice long nap, so it feels like morning to me. Getting in some much needed rest. All right. If you guys are available to tune in live, please come on in and comment. It helps me, and then that way we can all feel like we're interacting. So if you are out there, hey Tanya, I hope you are doing well. I hope you're feeling well. Hope you're getting some rest. Like I'm taking advantage of this week because I told you my kids are with their dad, and so I'm really trying to take advantage of it. Hey Roger, come on in, come on in, come on in. Okay, so we're on day 7. Day 7. We made it through 7 days of seeking peace and pursuing it. And again, I did not think that seeking peace would take us so far into so many different corners. And the way that this has all peeled itself out, and the way the Holy Spirit, because it really wasn't me trying to go this direction, but He's just kind of peeled it out to me. And it's been a wonderful experience. And again, from all the feedback that I've been getting, I feel like a lot of people are experiencing something. There is, a little bit of deliverance happening. There's a little bit of awareness happening, awakeness happening, all of those good things. So, of course, I'm going to come back with some of my feedback from today. Practicing patience has been again one of those things that I think it's definitely a part of my personality. So people expect it a lot, and it gets abused a lot because of it, because it's a part of my personality. And so in doing that, yes, that was a good one, right? So and being a patient person, people try you all the time. It's a different type of try because they think they can get over on you. And I wanted to address that, especially after Kathleen's comment on bullies. And what if someone is in your life and they're really hurting you or harming you? How do you address that? And again, my answer really doesn't change too much, but I will address it in a deeper matter just in case it wasn't clear. And I'll use myself as an example. I'm gonna be a little bit transparent here. So as you guys may have known or will know, I was married for 12 years. And I was married to a very difficult person. And by difficult, I mean he was very stuck in his ways. He was very controlling. And I don't say that, I'm not going to speak in a negative way about it. It's just that was his personality. And in a lot of ways, that controlling, one-way, stiff neck, if you will, personality, it set up a platform for us to have certain things in our life. Meaning, he was a great worker. He was hardworking. He was he made lots of money because he would do the same thing over and over again, and he had this no fear about getting what he wanted when he wanted it. So that same personality was great when it came to working and making money, which we call the hustler kind of part. So we had a really good lifestyle. But in the relationship as husband and wife, that same personality at times, many times, would be very like a bully. Okay? Meaning when he wanted something his way, done his way, you would feel like you were walking on eggshells. And it wasn't just me. There, it was me, and I have an older son, and we kind of walked around the house on eggshells when we knew that he wasn't in his place. Meaning he didn't feel good, or We didn't know what to do. We knew we had to do something, so we internally we became like these eggs, like, oh Lord, let's just do this, let's not do this, because we didn't know what he was going to respond. And that's kind of that bully mentality, that you feel like you have to submit to something even if you don't know it, but it was that control that was going on. So that was the atmosphere. And at times it was really bad, and at times, it just depended, and you didn't know it. Again, that's where that egg syndrome came through. So, saying all of that, I'm a strong woman as well. So there's certain things I would do because it was just my character. It was my character to be peaceful. It was my character, like as I said before, to have patience. Yes, it was my character to have patience. So to a lot of degrees, it worked out because of who I naturally was. Now, on the inside, though, over time, that type of relationship start to decay who I was. So there was moments where, there was other parts of me that wanted to shine, and I had to, for lack of a better word, dim my lights so that he would be okay. And here comes that self-sacrificing. Like, okay, I won't do this because I know he won't do it. I won't do this, or he won't like it, or he won't feel this. And so slowly over time, you talk about 12 years, that thing starts to decay at my character, who I wanted to be. The things that I really enjoyed, I found myself sacrificing. And towards the end, we got into this moment. So after years of putting myself on the back burner and letting them shine, or letting them have the say in the household, I finally decided to speak up for myself. Okay. Now this was after almost 3 days. It was like a marathon of him pushing buttons and pushing buttons and pushing buttons. And here I go, Kathleen, with the bully. Okay, so the bully goes around. He pushes buttons. He pushes buttons. He pushes buttons. He says things. He says hurtful things. He does this. He does that. Now, here's the key. When he got to a certain point, I broke. For the first time, I think, in my life, and it was shocking to everyone, I broke. The pressure of the button pushing, the pressure of 12 years of not being able to say what I needed to say or do what I needed to do to defend myself, okay? I broke. And when I broke, I lashed out. And that was not my character. And so that's what I mean by integrity. See, if I would have stayed in my integrity, okay, said what I needed to say. So in these moments, I am not saying do not say what you need to say, but say it in your peace. Say it in your authentic self, and say it with integrity. See, that saves you, because you don't feel like, there was so many times that I felt like nothing because I wasn't able to voice my opinion. And then the time that I actually voiced my opinion, and I thought it was going to be heard, it was not. Because it was covered up by me lashing out. It was covered up by me acting out of character. So that default became the headliner instead of, listen, I'm trying to tell you something. I'm trying to tell you that I need to be heard. I'm trying to tell you to stop disrespecting me. I'm trying to tell you all these things. So that's what I mean. I was coming out of a place of fear. I was in fear. Didn't write into, but had signed. Yes. It can come from any kind of relationship. This was not the first relationship I had like that. It was just the first relationship where I broke like that. And so this is why I'm saying, if you come from a place of fear, when you go into your default, if it's rooted out of fear, then you're going to be angry. You're going to be, I don't know, bitter. You're going to be, it's not going to be pretty. Okay. It comes from the flesh, and and you die in it. When you walk in the flesh, that's what the Bible says. When you walk in the flesh, you will die. A mind set on the flesh cannot please God. Why? And we're not talking about a physical death. We're talking about a spiritual death. You know, fear goes into, we talked about the worry and concern, and people who worry and concern over time, you get hopelessness, you get sadness. And over time, that sadness and hopelessness turn into depression. And how many people that go into a deep depression that actually think about suicide? So this is what we mean by that, that mind set on the flesh will die, because it's dying inside of you. And so when you come from a place of love, now again, when we talked about love, I talked about it in two different views: loving myself and loving others. Okay, now in that same scenario, the loving myself part would have been, you know what, Tasha? This is not healthy for you to be in a relationship with someone who does not allow you to voice your own opinion, to have an opinion, okay? Who doesn't allow you to do the very things that you need to fuel your soul, to be who you are called to be. This is not healthy, okay? That's the loving myself part, coming to that awareness, walking in that integrity, that this relationship did not line up with the very morals and fibers of my life, okay? Now, and saying that, I could have just said it. This is how I am with this. This is how I feel. This is, it's okay that I'm not okay in this relationship, okay? Because I'm not being my authentic self. Now, the other side of that is loving them. I had to get to a point to love them because they were showing up as their authentic self. Okay? He needs to be controlling of his environment. At the same time, I also had to look past the fact that his methods of control of his environments came from a wounded childhood. Came from his fear of losing everything, losing control. And when I start to view him in that way, as the fearful child who used all of these methods, that he would not lose me, he would not lose control of his household, he wouldn't lose control of his job, then I had enough compassion to forgive him. Okay, so this happened it took a long time for me to get to this point. For almost 3 years, I sat in, I wanted to tell him or show him what he had done to me. Okay, and my reaction set off a ripple effect of nastiness, a ripple effect of my kids, my household being torn apart. It set off a ripple effect where if I was to roll it back now, and what I'm telling you guys and the principles that I'm trying to set up for the rest of my life is that in that moment of disrespect, in that moment of having my buttons pushed over and over and over again, if I would have stood in my authentic self and said those words, Tasha, this is not healthy. If I would have looked at him and I would have said, you know what? I understand how you feel. And I'm sorry you feel that way. That would have been me holding my peace in the midst of the madness, in the midst of the storm. I could have walked out of the room and there would have been no more, even if there was argument, it would have been in his court. Yeah, so true. I said what I had to say. I'm sorry you feel that way means I understand that you're hurting. Okay? But this is not healthy for me. So what I'm saying is there is a way to stand up to people. And guess what? Bullies don't like you being strong. Bullies find the person who is weak. Bullies will find the button that they can push over and over again. It's like a it's kind of like playing a video game. So if you push the button and Mario jumps up and down. That's what bullies like to do. They like to push a button and see you go jump, 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 and they get a corn. See, they get the corn. Oh, look at her! Look at her! Look at her! She's getting mad. Look at her! Oh man, I can arise this or rise her up. Get her angry, get her heated. Look at that, and then they can sit back and say, "See, look at you. Look at you. You can't even control yourself." That is the ugliness of that other side. But guess what? If you were to stand strong in who you are, yes, if you stand strong in who you are and say it and hold on to your integrity. I am not a drama queen. I've never been so. I've always been a peaceful person. I'm going to stand in that, and I'm going to tell you, I am sorry you feel that way, but this is not healthy for me. And I'm going to walk away inside my love bubble. And you can tell the person, I love you to life. Oh, I love you to life. But I got to go. I got to go. And if you ever need me, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. But I got to go. Okay? This is not open for discussion. So, where am I coming from is the question. It's really where you have to ask yourself. Okay, sorry you guys. It kind of went out. Hey Audrey, not so nice to see. That's my cousin. Okay, so again, when you are in a situation and we're talking about changing that default, the first question you have to ask yourself is, are you acting out of fear? If you're acting out of fear, you're going to default to something negative. You're going to default to worry. You're going to default to concern. You're going to default from distress. Hey, you're going to default into the negative, into your flesh. But if you're coming from love, see, love's going to give you enough calmness to look at the situation and gauge it correctly. Love is going to give you enough space to make a great decision, a conscious decision, the right decision. Love is going to give you enough space to consider yourself and the other person. And love is going to keep you strong. And you're still going to walk in your joy. It's amazing to me. So going back to how I used to, that one time I reacted that way. So remember, for 12 years, I was reacting out of fear, meaning I shut down in myself. I walked on the eggshells. I did what I had to do to ensure their safety, but I wasn't ensuring mine. Okay. The one moment that I stood up for myself, I stood up out of fear that I was dying, my last breath in this relationship. And it turned out to be not good for me. Not good for, hold on one second. Somebody's trying to get in, but okay. It turned out to be not healthy for me. It switched everything around. What I needed to say and what I was trying to say to them, which is respect me, it never came across because all they saw was the anger and the pain that came out of my mouth. So it profits you nothing when you come from that place. So me, again, now we're talking about 5 years later. Within the 5 years, I kept trying to address it in a matter of, I need you to hear me. I need us to be in agreement. I need you to know that you hurt me. And I need you to apologize to that. I kept going for that and I kept going for that. And guess what? It never happened. I'm not saying that people will never get there. That is one of the things I said earlier, where there's 3 types of people. And that space of patience will allow those things to happen. When you're patient and you stand in your righteousness, and you stand in your your authentic self and your integrity. Okay, you allow yourself to be okay with yourself. I wasn't okay with going off. No apologies. Yes, listen to me. Yes, yes. I wasn't okay with going because it wasn't me. It was like I really stepped out of myself, and it's almost like I stepped into where he was, which is probably how he got to that, controlling person. But I stepped outside of myself to prove a point that I did not need to prove, okay? Because if I would have stood in myself, okay, I'm a peaceful person. I don't like drama. I want to have a household full of love. I want to have a marriage full of love and respect. And that is transparent as long as I know that and as long as I stand up for that. But me going outside of myself did not help the matter. Now, after 5 years of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, I noticed that the moment I said, you know what? It does not matter what they think. I just need to be who I am. And when they came to me with the drama, I started to give them the window shopping face, which is, oh, okay. Just like I told you. And if they would come to me starting or trying to push a button because it was almost like they had this, I can't believe I'm not getting a reaction out of her. Not the reaction that they wanted. See, every time he came to me, I was calm. Every time he did something to me, I never showed fear and, oh my God, what are you doing? I stopped that altogether. Because it profited me nothing. So when they came to me, they seen me strong. When they came to me, they seen me at peace. And that worried them. Here we go. That peace that they felt from me, that calmness that they felt from me, worried them more than me trying to tell them how I felt about them. For me trying to defend myself. So there again, love for myself, my authentic self, became my greatest weapon. It became my greatest weapon. Even when I was silent. So that's what I'm saying to you guys. If you let love fight your battle, you will win. You're going to win with yourself. You're going to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I like you. I like you. Like we was talking about Mother Teresa. I'm quite sure Mother Teresa was like, I like you, girl. I like who you came out to be. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need to do to yourself. Every day. Do you like yourself? Do you like yourself? I'm quite sure all of us know what we want to be. And those very things that we like, every time I get in there. I was talking to my sister yesterday and she said, Tosh, I did some stuff today I did not like. It's like she didn't even know who she was when she was doing it, because she's recognizing that that's not who she is. It is a behavior that something brewed up in her. And guess what? What we're talking about here is there is a choice. You have a choice. You have all of those things in you. You have the love factors, the fruits of the spirit. You have all of those, but you also have the fruit of the flesh. And it is up to you. It is your decision to make the default, to go into a default. And all I'm telling you is if you default to love, out comes that fruit. And that fruit will stay with you. If you default to fear, then you're going to have the worry and the concern and all of those things that come with that. So, again, I just wanted to address that because I understand what you're saying about the bully. And there are certain relationships that you have to say, no. But if you do it with integrity, if you do it with love, and you also have that hope. And that was one of the scriptures today where we said, patience produces character, and character produces hope, and hope it can never fail. I think it's something like that. But hope is where we still have that measure in us of respect for that other person, for care for that other person. That little bit of, I'm still going to bless you because I believe that somewhere in you, there's something that God can salvage, that there's hope for the other person, and that leaves that sense of peace between the two of you, between you. So, and it also relieves that forgiveness. We talked about the forgiveness. In order to forgive, I got to have a little bit of hope, you know. In order to have the hope, I have to be a little bit vulnerable to the fact that God may work this out for you. So again, we earlier we talked about patience, and in between that space of patience, when someone wrongs you, that other person, the one who's wrong, okay, when we stand in love and we give enough space for God to work on them, to love to work on them, for that inner conflict to work on them. And I wanted to share this because I went to church this morning, and the pastor was talking about how you can't say people are not going to change until there is an inner, what did he call it? Personal. Hold on one second, I gotta get it. He called it personal conviction. Until there's a personal conviction. And that goes back to what I was saying. Okay, sorry, it went out again. But you can talk to someone over and over again about how you feel. And it's just your opinion until they have a personal conviction about it. And that is where God is fighting your battle. When God placed a personal conviction on their heart, there's room to change. And it is up to us to have enough patience, give the space for the atmosphere of change in someone else's life. Now, while they're going through it, do you need to be around them? Do you need to be a victim of their abuse? No. But you can't be a victim of their abuse unless you are accepting it, unless you're allowing it. And that again is about how you perceive what's going on. See, I'm only a victim of abuse when I believe what you're saying. When I believe and I step into the lie. You know, we talk about how verbal abuse is more dangerous than physical abuse, because that verbal abuse is what sticks in your mind, you know. And same thing with the bully. The bully will keep saying things. Yes, the bully can say things over and over again, and that thing stick in your mind until you believe it. You'll start eating the pie. And what I'm challenging you to do is you can be in a situation like that and window shop. I don't need to buy this. Okay, I'm not going to buy what you're trying to sell me. At the same time, I'm going to have enough compassion for you to understand that maybe there's something going on in you, okay, that has caused this. I'm going to look at you and say, what happened in your life? Woo! What happened in your life? What's going on in your life that you feel the need to bring that to me? Okay? And that's where I can bless you. That's where I can pray for you, you know, and have that peeled back in you so you can recognize that you're wearing a coat of wounds, that you're wearing a coat of pain. We've been there. We've all been there. You can look at some of your past relationships and see where you probably was the person, you know, not the victim. Put it that way. You was the opposite one. You were the opposite one. So we have to recognize that when they are personally convicted, then there's room to change. But a lot of times we don't give a chance for that because all we want to do is rip it apart, tear up the chain, throw away the key, and we're done. And what that does is set up an atmosphere of hopelessness in another person. Okay? So we're all here together for a reason. We're all supposed to be one body, helping one another, walking together. And it takes those we call like chess moves, you know, in order for us to help one another. Okay? That, again, space of patience. It gives you time to work on yourself. Why, if they persist in argument? But You hang up the phone. Okay, hang up the phone. But see, a lot. Here we go. Here we go. Thank you, Tay, for bringing that up. Okay, hanging up the phone. When you hang up the phone, you have to hang up the phone in peace. Peace. You have to hang up the phone in peace. A lot of us, when we do things like that, because of who we are, especially if you're a people pleaser, that thing will eat up on you. How are you hanging up the phone? Are you hanging up the phone in anger? Have you allowed it to brew in you to the point where you've gotten angry and then you're reacting? So we're coming out of fear. The fear that if I stay on this phone, you're going to say something that's going to really tear me up, and then you hang up the phone? Because that's going to rest in you. That's going to keep brewing and brewing after you hang up the phone. Okay? So a lot of times when we're in those type of situations, again, listen. Whoever it is, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm going to have to hang up now and hang up the phone. And they're going to be shouting and they're going to be doing, oh man, listen, when I say I'm dealing with a difficult person, I deal with a difficult person. I have been in so many of these situations, okay? And I promise you that how you deal with it, if you deal with it in calmness, if you deal with it in peace, and you deal with it in love, you will save yourself. Because a lot of these behaviors are crazy making, because it's crazy making if you allow it. But if you was to be on that phone and they start that argument, you say, listen, I'll talk to you later, okay? And you hang up the phone and you find the peace in you. You hold on to your peace through that process, knowing that I am doing this because there is no space and there's no room for argument in my life. Now I can talk to you. We can go over some things. I can show you, I can allow you to speak to me and we can speak back and forth, letting him know. Yeah, yes. In calmness. And then sometimes, you know what? That's where you got to get in that closet and go up into a praise. Until you can get to that point. This is how a person. Yes, when I really want. Yes. Do you see what I'm saying? But when you come from that self, don't you feel, for you guys who are commenting on, don't you feel the difference? I'm not coming out of anger. I don't even need to discuss it anymore. There's times where I've said it. It's not open for discussion. I'm going to challenge you guys to do that. Write down some things that you can say that when I say them, I'm at peace and I'm respecting the other person. Okay? Find those things and start to practice that so that you can put it into work. I had to, over time, I figured out there were certain phrases that I could say that it kept me honoring myself, but it also explained, yes, there you go. Yes, explain to the other person that I'm not for it no more. Okay? If you come to me and we're not going to have a decent conversation, there's no conversation. And so I have to say many times, I probably said this about 500 times, that's not open for discussion. But it came from a strength in me. It came from a love in me. It came from the love of myself and the love for you, because I recognize that you cannot have a discussion like this without belittling me, without verbally abusing me. So, out of my love for you, I'm not going to allow you to have this conversation because it's going to get you in trouble. It's kind of like if I knew you couldn't swim, I'm not going to allow you to go into the water without a life jacket. So, out of love, I speak that to the other person now. I speak that to my ex. Listen, we can't have this conversation because that conversation will get you in trouble. You can't come into my space whenever you feel like it, because they can't control themselves. But I say it in a space of love. I don't want you to end up in the I don't want you to end up with the cops arresting you. I don't want you to end up saying something that I know you're going to regret, because guess what? Even though that is what he does, there is an inner conflict with him. And I've seen it over time. The calmer I get and I allow God to work on him, woo! Guess what happens? There's been times where he comes back after the blowouts that he had, and I'm just sitting there calm, but the blowouts that he is now having with himself, and it's bouncing off of this love over here, and it's bouncing off of this calmness. He will come back and apologize. He will drive off and text me, "I'm sorry, I was having a bad day." You see what I'm saying? And it didn't take me to say, "You came over here with a bad day and you trying to take this out on me." I didn't have to go there. Okay? That's where these 2 gray hairs came from. Me going there. I don't step on his roller coaster ride. That's another great analogy. What we're talking about. Don't step on someone else's roller coaster ride. Stay in your lane. And use your defaults to do that. Use your defaults to stay in your lane. To stay in your peace. And each situation is different. And the more you apply this, the better you'll be. If I did have not been doing this for the 7 days, I'd probably be all over the place. But let me tell you, when I got up and I went to church today, and I had been to church for a while, and I know, like I told you, I'm very I pick up on people's energy, so I can feel, or I can sense. I don't know the words you want to explain, but I can sense when someone is like, I ain't seen her in a while. And boy, as soon as I would sense that, it would shut down here go my defense. I default to, "Oh, I'm concerned what they think about me," and all that. No, I walked into that ministry today with love and peace on my face, around my being. And I had the mothers of the church say, "Hey, I missed you. I haven't seen you in Sunday school." I had the pastor come and say, "Hey, Sister Tasha, we really missed you." And you know, a lot of the people in the congregation, they just loved on me. And guess what? For the ones who were sitting back in their mind, I just loved on them. You know, I'm going to be my authentic self. I'm going to show up as love and peace and joy and gentleness. I'm going to be forgiving, because that's who I am. You can't get nothing else from me. Okay? You can't, that thing can die. We talked about dying daily, right, Roger? Dying daily to your flesh. Today, I die to everything else. Today, I practice patience. Okay? I practice patience. I had practiced patience with other people's opinions of me. Okay? Giving them the space to see me. Yes. Show up at the church being peaceful, being loving. So if they had an opinion, woo, I just tested that. I just pushed their idea of who I am. You see how that works? But you got to give the space for it. You got to give the space for them. You have to give the space for you to grow in those areas. That's the time. How many times have you met people and you have already, my pastor's doing a series. Yes, yeah. And that's what we've been doing. I don't know how the Holy Spirit took it this way, but that's how he's done it. So each day we've been doing the Spirit. If you go back, Audrey, and look at all the videos, that's what we've been applying every day, the fruit of the Spirit and how they connect to your overall peace. And it's amazing how we've gone. For the people who have been, doing this daily, it's amazing. And not giving a care of what they thought or said. Yes. 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 And in that space of not giving a care of what they thought and say, it's coming from the fruit of forgiveness. Not from the fruit of I don't care. Because that comes off too in a negative. You know, there's a lot of people walking around, I don't care what anybody think about me. And that's also one of those defense mechanisms. So just down joy. Yes! We did joy. When did we do joy? 2 days ago. Yes. So Holy Spirit, when he starts to teach and start to move throughout the people who are awake and have an ear to hear, it's amazing how you'll start seeing the message just come across. But yes, when you come from a place of forgiveness, meaning I'm not going to hold anything in my heart, because then I could show up at wholeheartedly. Hey, Dr. Brown, wholeheartedly as peace, wholeheartedly as love, wholeheartedly as joy. And I was able to worship God. And the message today, he talked about, loving one another. It was like love was all in the message today, and I got it. It's the revelation that I have on it right now is just amazing. It brought me so much peace. I was like, God, you are so awesome, because your truth is so transparent and it penetrates everything. This truth that we stand on, it has no barriers. Yes, on the Lord. Yes, it has no barriers. I was telling Kathleen, it's all about learning the language. See, I can go to anyone who believes in anything, and I can speak their language according to my word of God, and they'll understand it. But it's about speaking the language that they understand, if that makes sense. Everybody understands love. Everybody understands love. But when you understand that God is love, woo, and that part of your spirit that's connected to him is love, and that part of his spirit it went out again. Okay. So that part of his spirit that guides you is love, and it knows the deep things of God. All of those things seem to, it's just a greater revelation and understanding. Yes, thank you, Roger. It's a greater revelation, and or for people who don't understand what I say, what I mean by revelation, it's a greater understanding of who God is, and he's not just in this box that we seem to put him in, like this little man on a hill that we pull on when we are in need. That he's a living God. And he lives throughout all of us, and he's put into practice every time we use the fruits of the Spirit. We can walk in him. We can walk in life by using the fruits of the Spirit to guide us into his understanding. Yes, into who he is. And it will protect us. Again, I can't say this enough. Love is your greatest defense. It will defend you, it will protect you, and it will protect the other people around you. And that's a great thing. The last example I'm going to use is the woman who committed adultery. And we know back in that time, and who he has made us to be. Yes, go Tanya. Yes, you are exactly correct. The woman who committed adultery. And this goes back to giving that space of patience. Yes. Thank you, Tanya. That space of patience. There's a woman in the Bible that the men bring to Jesus. And they tell him, what would you do? Now, this is a test for Jesus, because they already knew what the law said, but they wanted to see what Jesus would do. And so they bring this lady to him and say, we have caught her. All right, girl, I'll talk to you later. So they caught her in adultery, and they bring her to Jesus. And Jesus does not address them immediately. He goes to the sand and the dirt, and he writes something. And I don't know if anybody knows what he wrote, but from my knowledge, nobody knows what he wrote. But every time I read that story, I think about that story, I feel like what he's doing is giving himself enough space to be peaceful and calm and think about what his decision is going to be before he speaks. He's giving himself enough space to know, what does God have to say about this before he reacts. He's giving everyone around him enough space to think about it. I can imagine in that brief moment that probably felt like an eternity to this woman who is now set to be judged by the rabbi, what was going on in her heart, in her mind. Was that the space where she decided that, hey, I did a bad thing and I might just die. Like, I could be stoned to death right in this moment. And if I could do it all over again, woo, would I do it? Yes. Was that the space that Jesus was setting, the atmosphere that Jesus was setting up for this woman to give her the inner conviction? Woo, I feel the Holy Ghost. I feel the Holy Ghost. Was that the space that Jesus was allowing her to have so she could have that inner conflict? Just enough to give her a personal conviction that would change her life from that day forward. Change her life. Okay? And so then Jesus comes over. Woo! What'd he do? What'd he do? What'd he do? For y'all who know it, type it in. He forgave her and told her to walk away and sin no more. He told all the people who was pointing fingers, if any of y'all, yes, if any of y'all are without sin, throw the first stone. So he made them go inward and think about their own self. He made them, he challenged their inner convictions, their personal convictions to rise up. See, he didn't have to fight. Woo! He didn't have to fight. He let God do the battle. Let him. That's what I was saying. Yes, yes. So he did not have to fight. He didn't even say, and he probably knew what was going on in each and every person. He didn't even say, listen, you need to leave her alone because I know that you sinned, and I know that you stole, and I know that you cheated on your taxes, and I know. He didn't even go there. He just said, I'm going to let y'all think about it. Think about what you've done. And that inward conflict, that personal conviction hit them. And guess what they did? They walked away. They dropped the stones. And they walked away. But Jesus set up the atmosphere for that. He set up the stage for that. Why? Because he took that minute, that pause, that break. He waited patiently for the answer. And it set up the atmosphere for all of those people. I can't imagine how many people it was. We know it's probably at least 3 or 4 people that brought her there kicking and screaming. We know she was there. And we know there probably was an audience because he was a rabbi. He was probably teaching. So in the midst of all of those people, he set up a stage to change every last person who was involved. Yes, he said, sin no more. Sin no more. And do you think that she ever put herself in that situation again? Do you think? Again, with the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. This woman had 5 husbands. And the one that she was with, yes, the one that she was with was not her husband. And Jesus gave her a nugget that changed her life. She became the first female evangelist because Jesus set the stage for this woman to go inward. He said, listen, you're looking in the wrong place. You keep trying to drink the cup, and that cup will never fill you. As long as you keep looking into this relationship and that relationship for your fulfillment, you're never going to find it. And when she responded to him, listen, you must be a prophet. And it was almost like that thing opened up for her, because somewhere inside she was saying, hey Christina, she was saying to herself, there's got to be a better life than this. My life cannot be based off of serving someone who's not appreciative, walking on eggshells. My life something has to be better than that. And somewhere inside, inwardly, she was thinking about the Messiah. She was thinking about God, because the next thing she said is, listen, my forefathers said that we're supposed to pray on this mountain, but you Jews say that we need to pray in Jerusalem. That didn't come out of nowhere. She's been meditating on that. She's been thinking about that. That's got to be another way. And so how many times have we met people that may be on the bridge or that the edge of making that decision, and how we deal with them? Jesus could have said, listen, you are a Samaritan and I don't need to be drinking from your cup. I'm moving. But no. He was patient enough. He gave the space, and he was peaceful and calm in that moment to ask the right questions about who she was and who's your husband. Who is your husband? Bring your husband to me. See, that takes a calmness to hear from God in that way, that wisdom and revelation that he needed to get from the Father, and ask the right questions to save their life, to save their soul, to question them, to go inward. And she went inward, and she set out, and now from that point on, she went straight to God, and she took everybody along with her story of this man who knew everything about her. He told me everything about myself. He told me everything about, and I don't know about you, but that's what I want to do. I want to be able to go to a wounded person, a hurt person, and I want to be able to tell them everything about themselves so that they can change, so they can be healed. That's what I want to do. I don't know about you. And some people may just, I want to be there to help people. I know we got some nurses in a group, I know we have some people who are scientists in a group. There's so many ways to affect the world. And if you get off track, you lose so many years. If we count up the times that we've been distracted by stress and worry and depression, if we count up those times, how many years have we lost that we could have been helping, that we could have been growing in ourselves, that we can apply that to the world, to other people, that energy wasted on other things, when we could just be peaceful enough to say, I'm sorry, that's not allowed here anymore. Way too much. Yes. That song that says love don't live here no more? No, drama don't live here no more. I'm not open to that discussion. Okay? I don't entertain certain things in my integrity. And I say that in peace and love. I saw, that just brought to my mind, I saw Michael Jackson behind the scenes. And we all know when Michael Jackson talks, Michael Jackson's very sensitive. He has this very soft and soothing way about him. And he was setting up for, or rehearsing for, his show. I think this is a big show right before he passed away. And there was something not right with the music. And so he stopped the music and he said, listen, that's not right. I'm going to need you to change this. And he said, I say that with love. I say it with love. He kept saying, I say this with love. So again, an example of how you can stand up for yourself. You can say what needs to be said in that moment, but say it out of love. Say it from love. come from that spirit in you, so that that peace of God can be felt from you and to the other person. And if their reaction is not peaceful, then allow the patience to allow them to grow in that moment, to change in that moment. Apply another principle, default to something else. Gentleness, maybe gentleness will be the next tomorrow. Is gentleness, I think gentleness maybe tomorrow. Okay. So anyway, this was a great day. This was a great day. Again, Roger, Tanya, Christina, Audrey, thank you so much for tuning in to me live. It's so much better when I'm talking to you guys live instead of talking to my screen. But I hope that you guys have done your morning thanks. I hope that you have cast your cares. And I hope that you have had your time to spend being still, being in the presence of God. Thank you. Thank you. And be blessed, you guys. Again, I think tomorrow's going to be gentleness. I think that might be a great little segue. Tomorrow's going to be day 8. So, again, closing out day 7, patience. Yes. Tomorrow, day 8. I will see you guys in the AM. All right? Have a good night. Be blessed. Change your default. Bye.